I often think about why I want people to want to watch my videos. Not why I want it. I want people to watch my videos so that I can keep doing this job. But what is the viewer's why for watching my videos? Why does my audience want to watch me? And I do think that this is where some channels on YouTube kind of get lost nowadays, because all they're thinking about is their own why, which is fair to consider. I'm not saying that's a bad thing or something that content creators should never think about. Ultimately, most of us need people to watch our videos so that we can make money from the ads on those videos that will pay for us to continue to make more videos, so that we don't have to go out and get some other job that will take up all of our time, so we don't have time to make videos anymore because we have rent to pay and we need to eat food or we'll die. That's fair. But if all I'm considering is my own why, then all I'm considering is how to get people to watch. How to get the most people to watch for the longest amount of time. And there's some very well-known methods for this being quite heavily utilized on YouTube. Rage bait. Apparently, people love to hate watch stuff, which I don't personally understand because I don't personally enjoy the emotion of anger, and therefore I do not seek it out. But I am not every person, and rage translates to clicks and views and watch time and ad money, and therefore, if that's the only thing we're thinking about, we'll use it. Interestingly, I think clickbait is actually kind of going down. Maybe it's getting replaced by rage bait, because while there is money in getting people to simply click on your video, there's a pre-roll ad that is providing a paycheck of some size. There's a lot more money in getting people to actually stay and watch the whole video with all of those mid-roll ads. There is also the method of appealing to kids. Did you know that if your content on YouTube doesn't directly appeal to kids, then there is a cap on your audience size? I'm not saying that it's made for kids or that it's labeled as kid content. I'm just saying that it appeals to the under 18 demographic in some way. Kids watch a lot of content. Kids make up a very big percentage of watch hours on YouTube. So be energetic and use lots of sound effects and memes and trendy jokes that the kids like and bright colors and stuff. I don't even know what appeals to kids nowadays. But if you think of the biggest, like the very biggest channels on YouTube, how many of them have big kid audiences despite not actually technically being kid content? If you're not doing something to draw in those underage eyes, then you are limiting yourself and your channel, quite frankly. You can also follow video trends and use outlier theory and basically do whatever other people are doing that's getting them views and watch hours in the hopes that it'll do the same thing for you. All of these methods are ultimately focused on your own, you the creator, why. Please watch my videos. I like this job, and I need to get paid for it. Considering your audience's why is a completely different ballgame, and I do think that it's easier, or maybe just comes more naturally, if you, the creator, are also a YouTube viewer, a consumer of content, and not just a creator of content. Because if you know what makes you want to watch a video and another and another and another, it's gonna be a little more automatic for you to imbue your own videos with that same appeal. This is the whole concept of make content that you personally would want to watch. But whether this is coming naturally to you as a creator or not, I do think that it's a good idea to give it some purposeful thought now and then. What do I want my viewers' why to be? There are many different options here, and even if one option is not my personal preference, I can still be prioritizing it on some level. But ultimately, even if we haven't thought it through, I do think most of us as content creators have one overall why that we tend to prioritize for our viewers. For example, I personally would love it if the vast majority of my audience watched my videos because they like me. And that is really uncomfortable for me to say out loud. But even though I have a craft-focused channel where there are projects being done, and logically, a portion of my audience, or possibly even the vast majority, are there to see that project, I would personally prefer it if the majority of my audience watched my videos and came back to my channel because they just enjoy my personality, because they like hanging out virtually, because they find me a pleasant presence in their homes and in their lives. And yes, that's purposely parasocial. We as content creators do have to decide for ourselves what level of parasocial bond we are comfortable building with our audience. And while we don't have full control over every individual viewer's parasocial bond, we do set a vibe. Do I want to be seen as a friend or as a stranger? What reason does a viewer have to keep coming back to watch a stranger's videos? Well, the projects might be the reason. And that is why I say there's multiple reasons to watch specific content, and there are multiple reasons we as content creators can choose from to attract certain audience members. In the maker space, though there is much more complexity to it than this, you can sort of boil down video appeal to those two things: project versus personality. How many of my audience members are watching the video because they want most of all to see the project, whether to see it finished or to see how it was made? How many of my audience members are watching the video because they want to hang out with me, a technical stranger who they see as a friend? To be clear, there's typically going to be a mix of these two type of viewers in any maker's audience. But the tone they themselves set can influence the ratio between these two groups. And guess what? There are pros and cons to each. And there's also a balance that every individual creator can achieve for themselves. Prioritizing the project appeal may allow you as the creator to remain more anonymous or more private, and that is understandably a very big deal to a lot of people. Just because you desire an audience does not mean that you desire a complete lack of privacy. Something I think we would all do well to remember when it comes to celebrities at any level, but that is a tangent. On the other hand, prioritizing project appeal may box you into certain project types if you're trying to retain the same audience members across all of your content. Or it may lead you into the trap of forever trying to top yourself. It's a trap, y'all. You cannot spend the rest of your life always trying to top yourself. Prioritizing personality, on the other hand, leaves you open to much more parasocial behavior from your audience members. Viewers sending you inappropriately presumptive messages or emails, calling you pet names, making assumptions about your life or your personality as though they know you intimately. It also opens you up to more criticism and a different type of criticism. There's always going to be viewers in the comments critiquing what you made and how you made it, and your video editing and the music that you chose and all of that stuff. But if you are a very present personality in your videos, then you will likely start to see criticism of other things as well. Your voice, your appearance, your clothing, your quirks, your behaviors, your personality, and literally anything else you've chosen to share about yourself. However, on the pro side, if you are choosing to prioritize personality appeal, you're more likely to retain some level of core audience across all of your videos, regardless of what project that you're doing, how big it is, what medium it is, even if you do a completely different video style. Because a large portion of your audience is watching just to hang out with you, they don't care as much what project you're doing or what the video is about, so you may feel that you have more room to experiment. And this is ultimately why I've gone with the personality appeal route. Yes, on some level, I simply enjoy being on camera. I like being an online presence. I like having an audience who likes me. But I also really enjoy making and sharing projects. In other words, I really enjoy having this job. And I realized quite early on that the only way that's going to be sustainable for me long term, outside of things that are not in my control, like the choices that the platform I'm utilizing makes, is if I give myself room, endless room, to explore and experiment and constantly be trying new things, whether that's in the projects that I'm making or in the style of video that I'm making. That's not the same for everyone. Some creators are devoted to a single craft medium or a single video style, and they are perfectly happy to stick with that. Some creators can find plenty of variety for themselves without having to become that personality presence. There's no right or wrong answer here. There's just the thing that works for you as a creator and brings in the type of audience that you personally desire. And this is why I encourage creators to think about the reason they want their audience members to have for coming back to their channel. If I want my audience to come back to my videos because they're always learning something new, then I'm going to prioritize education and tutorials. If I want my audience to come back because my content always inspires them, then I might prioritize more inspirational pep talk style videos. If I want my audience to come back because I am the ultimate body double for their day, then I'm going to prioritize that more laid back body double style of video. Asking yourself why you want your viewers to want to watch your content and coming up with the answer that works for you is not always going to align with getting more views or more watch hours or growing your audience. My main channel would likely be bigger if I had prioritized project appeal within a specific niche. That way audience members who are interested in that niche have a reason to keep coming back time and time again for ever more interesting renditions of that craft. But that's not the why that I want them to have. That's not the why that works for me. There's also all these sort of micro whys that you can explore while you're at it, both deciding which whys you want and which whys you don't. Like, I am personally uninterested in my appearance. I find it the most uninteresting thing about me. And I don't want people to watch my content because they like my appearance. That is not a why that I want my viewers to have, although I will note it is a why that has been proven to work on YouTube. That is why I say I want more viewers does not always line up with why I want people to become viewers. Because of this personal preference, I actually prioritize not putting effort into my appearance when I film. And this is not at all to say that any creator who puts effort into their appearance is doing so because they want people to watch their videos because they like their appearance. That is not how it works. What their personal why is just that. Personal. Unless they have openly shared about it, we do not know their reasoning, and we should not be making assumptions about it. Okay? Okay. Another micro why choice for me personally, I call these micro because they sit underneath that top why for me of personality appeal and level of prioritization, is what I'd call confidence inspiration. I want people to want to watch my content because doing so makes them feel more audacious. It's not about inspiring people to make a specific type of project or do a specific type of craft. It's about firing them up to make in general. And how I choose to make my content is influenced by that desire. If I wanted to inspire people to try a certain craft or make a certain project, then my content would look and feel slightly different, which would be perfectly fine. But knowing why I'm prioritizing helps me narrow down the focus of my storytelling and video style and content themes. And finally, a third micro why for me is that I want people to want to watch my content because it brings them joy. This might seem pretty broad, like basically I'm just saying I don't do rage bait, but it's actually a little more nuanced than that. There's not just rage or joy as emotional responses to watching a video, and content bringing somebody joy does not automatically make it synonymous with them enjoying that content, yes? I can enjoy a movie that makes me weep. I can enjoy a book that bewilders me. People seem to enjoy videos that fill them with rage. You might want people to want to watch your content because it always makes them think deeply about important topics, or it even disturbs them a little from their place of comfort. You may want people to want to watch your content because it always makes them feel peaceful or cozy or comforted or related to. And to be clear, regardless of what you're prioritizing, people are going to feel a vast variety of things when they watch your content. And you are not in control of that. Again, we're setting a tone. I even feel that there's a difference between saying, I want my content to bring people joy, and I want my content to make people happy, and I am specifically choosing to use that first set of words, although getting into why would be a whole conversation of its own. But my point is that knowing not only my overall why I want people to want to watch my content, but also all of my micro whys helps me create content that I am personally pleased with, helps me build an audience that I actually like, and also facilitates a lot of the many tiny decisions we are constantly having to make as content creators. I don't really have to think about it in the moment when all of these choices come up in storytelling and scripting and pacing and humor and what project I'm gonna do next, because I've already thought about it. My whys are all pinned to the corkboard of my subconscious, influencing every decision that I make. And y'all, that is super helpful, not just for making stuff that I am happy with, but also for getting stuff done in a timely manner. Who would have thunk it, huh? Predetermining your motivation is a time-saving trick. Didn't I already make a video about this?